Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video at the Pharmacist Academy. Woo! So it's almost that time of the year where we will find out who our next president will be. Now, who I decide to vote for will be based on several things, but one of the important things for me as a pharmacist is the candidate's view on education and student loans specifically. So I did some research on this about Trump and Biden's stance on student loans, and I wanted to share with you guys today. Now, just to throw it out there, I'm not really into politics, so if you guys have things to share, please leave it in the comment and educate all of us. So without further delay, let's jump right into it. So these are the topics I will be addressing about each candidate. So President Trump released his budget proposal for 2021, and it's titled A Budget for America's Future. And in there, he basically plans on cutting about 8% of the Department of Education's funding, which is about $6 billion. Now, if this happens, it's actually going to affect the amount of financial aid that you will typically receive when you're in college. He also plans on eliminating subsidized loans. And for those of you who are not familiar with this, these are loans that you take during your undergrad, so whether it's 2 years or 4 years, but there's no interest accumulating while you're in school when you take these loans. For Biden, he wants to double the Pell Grant for low-income and middle-class Americans. And Pell Grant is not a loan, okay? This is something that's given by the government for students in college, and there's a specific limit as to how much each person can get, right? And that can depend on if you're either full-time or part-time or your expected family contribution. So for Biden, he wants to double this amount. Student loan forgiveness. So President Trump supports the student loan forgiveness, but he makes recommendation that this should have only one income-driven repayment plan. So right now, there are several income-driven repayment plans where you could be paying anywhere from 10% of your income to 20% of your income, and you have, like, let's say, I believe 15 to 20 something years of paying these loans. So Trump wants to limit that just to one plan. And also forgive undergrad federal loans after 15 years of income-driven payments. And this is something that everybody with undergrad federal loans will qualify for if they make income-driven payments for 15 years. So for Biden, he wants to cancel $10,000 of loans for each person with undergrad federal loans and forgive federal loans after 20 years of payments. Now, the student loans repayment plan. So Trump wants to increase the percentage that you pay each month from 10% to 12.5%. And remember, as I had mentioned earlier, there are different types of income-driven repayment plans, and he's going to limit it to one. So basically, everybody would be paying 12.5% of their monthly income towards their student loan. Now, for Biden, he basically proposed that if your income is less than $25,000 per year, there's no payments required for you, right? So no monthly payments is required while your income is less than $25,000 per year, right? So this is something that's very important, right? So let's say you graduated from school, you're having a hard time getting a job, you do not have to make payments yet. Income over $25,000, you would have to pay 5% of your income towards your loans each year. Now, in terms of the public service student loan forgiveness, and for those of you who don't know, I actually have a video on this, so make sure you check it out if you're not too familiar with it. So this is something that Trump wants to eliminate completely. And one of the reasons why he wants this is because he claims that it's only going to benefit a specific group of people, right? So the public service student loan forgiveness only really affects people who only works in jobs in underserved areas, you know, teachers, people who work for government agencies. So a lot of people don't actually qualify for this. And this will only affect new borrowers of federal loans. So if you borrowed federal loans in the past, you still qualify for it. If, let's say, next year you're going to begin college and you're going to borrow federal loans, right, and this thing is in effect, then you will not qualify for this. For Biden, he still wants to keep it, and he wants to give $10,000 each year of federal student loans forgiveness for 5 years, right? So it's gonna total to 50,000. Instead of forgiving everything that's left, he's just gonna give 50,000. Okay, so the initial idea behind the public service student loan was to forgive the balance after 10 years. Now, in terms of free college tuition, this is something that Trump does not support. But for Biden, he wants to forgive all undergrad federal loans from public 2 to 4 year colleges, universities, only if your annual income is less than $125,000. So my final takeaways: you don't want to depend on any of these candidates. Candidates will say whatever they have to say in order to get their votes. And not to mention, even if they actually want these things to happen, it has to go through so many different people, right? So sometimes it's really hard to get these things to actually go into effect, all right? So don't really depend on any of them. Just make sure you have a plan to pay your loans, regardless of who you're voting for, really. And we all are eligible for the loan forgiveness after 15 to 20 years, right? So aside from the public service student loan forgiveness, if you just do your income driven repayments for, I believe, like 15 to 20 years, depending on which candidate, right? Depending on who's going to be the president, you will have your loans forgiven. And that will be the end of this video. If this video was helpful, make sure to like, comment, and share this video with somebody who could benefit from it. As you can see, both Trump and Biden have different stance on student loans. And of course, this should not be the only determining factor to decide who to vote for. But if you have a lot of loans, then definitely want to keep this information in mind and also do your own research. Make sure to connect with me on these social media platforms. Thank you for watching this video and take care.